Hey, what's going on? So this is part 2 of this video here where I installed a window in the last video. I'll put a card for that up top here, as well as a link down in the description. This is part 2 where I'm installing the exterior trim on the window. So I guess here's the video. There's some other links and stuff down below if you want to check out some other related videos and stuff like that, as well as there'll be some at the end of the video. So here we go. All right, so now that the window is installed, I started cutting the siding back for the trim on the left side, so I'm going to do it again on the right side and show you how I do that. Basically, I'm just using a block of the trim that I'm going to be using. This is a 5/4 by 4 board, and I'm using a multi-tool, and I'm just going to set this up there and zip it like that. You could screw it on if you needed to, if you can't use this with one hand, or you could mark it and then cut them all. You could just use a utility knife if you don't have one of these. That was the old school way, but now that we have these, you don't need a utility knife anymore. So I'm just going to cut the sides and the top, and the bottom is going to get a windowsill, which we're making out of a 2x4. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So let me show you how I cut these. And of course, you're going to want safety goggles and hearing protection. So I'm just going to set it there and then run my saw right up it. All right, so I've got them all cut, and as you can see, my block of wood, it fits in there easily. So I'll be ready to put the trim in now. I am going to prime all the ends of the cuts. This is very soft wood. It's not cedar. It's, I believe, Palawania wood is what it's called. Very, very soft wood. So definitely want to prime the end cuts before we put the trim on. And then I'm going to pull off this Tyvek because I cut through the Tyvek when you cut the siding. Just is what happens inevitably. We're going to pull that off, and then I'm going to wrap this with the window wrap here, which is going to cover all the nails and give it a seal. And then once the trim is in, we'll caulk all that in, and it'll be watertight on both sides. All right, now that's had some time to try. I've got some drip cap cut, window cap, that's going to slide up underneath the siding. So it can be tricky because the Tyvek's in there too, to get it up in there. And looks like we're gonna get it. And now I gotta cut that top piece of trim, so I'm just gonna measure that and cut that. And I'm gonna prime the ends before I put it up in there. All right, now before the trim goes on, I'm gonna install some flashing tape. This was a 6-inch roll, and I just cut it in half. So I'm gonna install that like this, which is gonna cover all the nails and give me a good seal. And I'll do the 2 sides and then the top. And then the bottom doesn't really need to be done because there's not really enough room in there to put this anyway. It's just the nailing flange, and the siding's like basically right there. So I'm not going to worry about the bottom. All right, now that that flashing tape's installed, I'm actually going to nail on a little 1/8-inch thick piece of wood. And basically, because this nailing flange and the nails are there, it's probably about an 1/8 inch thick. So that is going to make it so that my trim sits flat on the wall. And really why that's important is at the joints at the top. So basically, I'm just gonna nail this on. That's it, do that all the way around, and then we'll get ready to put our trim on. All right, let's see if this fits. I'm gonna rip a little bit of a bevel on the back side, on the bottom side of that thing, so it'll slide up in there. There's the little bevel, hopefully you can see that I ripped. That's gonna go where it was hitting on the window, because I'm trying to put it in on such an angle. There you go, you can see that better. So I'm just gonna prime that real quick, and then we'll throw that in. Alrighty. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you can be notified when I release new videos. There we go. I can do the sides. Now for the sides, all I'm going to do is I'm going to butt up to that top one and measure down exactly to the bottom of the window here. 53 5/8. All right, so I've got this one here. Goes like that. A little tight. That'll do, donkey. You're just gonna need a block of wood to tap this in. You don't want to hit too hard on that or you'll dent it, so. I'm using 2.5-inch siding nails to put this on. All right, now I just got to measure the sill, and I'll show you how to make a sill. All right, so what I'm going to do is set the saw to a 12-degree bevel, and I'm just going to cut off the edge of this so that it's all got an angle on it. All right, now that I've got my bevel on it, I can show you how I'm going to do this. So this is going to be the house. So I have to flatten this as much as a 5/4 board is, which is 1 1/8. So I'm just going to measure in 1 1/8. Right. And then using my small square, I can figure out exactly where that's going to have to go. So I'm going to have to rip this off, okay? And then that's going to stay the same, that's going to stay the same, and I got to figure out how much I want to come out. I think the rest of them on my house are 1/2 inch. So it's going to come out another 1/2 inch right there, and that's going to be where I need to rip another 12-degree bevel. Hey, Piper! All right, now before I rip that flat, while I've got this set on a bevel, I'm gonna bring this in like this and drop it way down. And I'm gonna cut my relief cut for the drip. Okay, so you can see the little relief cut, so any water that gets down here will just drip right off. Now I gotta cut that little flat spot off and we're done. So I'll set it back to 0. All right, now I just got to cut that to length, sand it, prime it, and we can install it. All right, while I'm waiting for that primer to dry, I'm going to pull off this last piece of siding here because I'm going to have this notch underneath, one piece all the way over. So I already cut the caulking right here, and we'll see if it's going to come out without me having to pull these nails. Yeah, there we go. I just put a whole piece in there. All right, so I got my sill ready to put in. I nailed a block of wood here so I can just butt it up to it and know that it's flush. Check the other end, make sure the length is good. And it is. And I can just nail that on with my 2.5-inch nails. Cool. Now the last thing to do is to measure this piece of siding, cut that, nail it in, and we will be done. All right, the length is good. Now I just gotta mark cuts. And I can see the paint line where the old one was. So I'm just gonna measure up to that. That is 1 inch on this end and 3/4 on this end. Okay, I'm gonna cut that with the jigsaw and then prime it and we'll nail it in. All right, now that that's in, I just have to nail off the siding where we cut it off, and I think that's it. Unfortunately, a little chip came off of this when I was sanding it, There was like, it was splintered and it just came apart. But if this was on a client's house, I would change that out. I'd put a new board in, but it's on my own house. So that reminds me of like, when people say, oh, what would you do if it was your house? Like, that's what I would do if it was my house. I'd let it slide. But I wouldn't let that slide on your house. So anyway, that's what it looks like. Ready for some paint. All right, well, that's it. Window's done. I can now caulk it and paint it, and then do the interior trim. So if you're interested in how to do interior trim, I will be doing a video of that later on. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. I will also be doing a video of spray foaming the interior, and I think I've already done painting interior. So check out some links down below. I'll have links for some videos, more trim stuff and painting stuff. And when those other videos come out, I'll put them down in the description. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up down below, and subscribe to the channel. I think I already said that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next video.